voice can break the dark. A single spark ignites the heart. But if we turn when justice calls, the chains we forge will bind us all. When truth is silence, when lies take hold, the cost is freedom, the soul grows cold. No one stands tall while another must fall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, defending every voice, defending every right. For the moment we falter, the moment we stall, we lose our own freedom when we let others fall. You can't stand free while others kneel. When justice fades, it's freedom they steal. An innocent condemned, a crime unspoken, and with it the bond of liberty is broken. No tyrant rules without our consent. Oppression thrives where silence is spent. Stand for the weak, the silence the small, or freedom will crumble for us all. We're mavericks of freedom, guardians of the light, fighting for the truth, for what is just and right. For the rights of one are the rights of all. We rise or we fall by answering the call. Even those we may oppose deserve the rights we all uphold. For if we deny them what is fair, we build our own prison in despair. The fight's not easy, it never will be, but justice for one is the key to be free. We stand as mavericks, together we strive, defending the rights that keep freedom alive. We're mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, upholding every truth, protecting every right. When one is oppressed, we're all in the thrall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. So take a stand, let your courage rise. Defend the truth, don't compromise. For the soul of the world, the writing's on the wall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for
Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Friday. Well, this has been the most Americanized election I've ever seen. Everything about it. There's been some sort of U.S. influence on every level. And tonight, it's very apparent just in the way the Poilievre campaign has sort of displayed itself, the way he's using his airplane at the airplane hangar. Well, I'll show you what I mean. And Trump today making headlines again through this interview he did with Time magazine, where he says that he's not trolling Canada on this whole 51st state question. And then we see really something that I've been telling everyone about for months now. I've been saying the people who want to tear the country apart, they're focused on making you believe that Canada is not a real country, that it's not a real nation. It's just a myth. And today we're seeing exactly that language from, well, prominent people. I'll put it that way. I'll show you as we dig into this. Yeah, there's going to be a movie tonight as well. Maybe I'll have people guess what it's going to be. I don't think you'll get it, but we'll put that out there tonight as well. So, as much as I'm trying to keep things light on this Friday evening, ending the week, heading into the final days of the Canadian election, I don't know if I can, because we also have video of a high school principal in Georgia being beaten up by his students. So all that and more coming up right here on Maverick News.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV,
the entire world is watching.
On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay. Now, you tell me, and, does this not just make you think of the Trump campaign and the way that he was using his airplane? You know where this really started was during the pandemic, when they were trying to prevent Trump rallies. He didn't care, and he kept going out, and he would fly in, and this is the way the Trump campaign was making the most efficient use of time. Pretty smart. They would fly into an airport, pull the Trump plane up to the hangar, and have the rallies inside the airplane hangars during the pandemic, with the plane in behind the stage where Trump would be speaking, and then the crowd in the foreground. Well, look at this and tell me, does this not look very much sort of the same? Here we go. I'm going to turn the audio down here because I don't want to get the copyright strike on the music. So they pull the airplane up. I believe this is in Calgary today. And people are like, oh, this is wild. It does inject real energy into the rally, and it makes it look big. It looks like he has a lot of money and momentum and power behind him. There's his plane with the graphics on the side, Canada first. This, you can try to deny it if you want, but this looks very much like a Trump rally, does it not? Is that by accident or by design? I don't know. I don't know if it's a bad thing or not. It's just an observation. Just an observation. It's All about style, baby. Okay, let's pick up some of what Poilievre actually said to see if there's any substance behind the
Hey,
style.
are you ready for change? Are you ready for food and homes you can actually afford for a change? Are you ready to pay some lower taxes for a change? Are you ready to lock up the criminals so that we can be safe on our streets for a change? Are you ready to unleash our resources so we can take back control of our economy for a change? Wow. It is great to be back in my hometown of Calgary. Thank you very much. Calgary's ready for a change. Here with my family, my mother, Marlene, is here. Everybody give Marlene a round of applause. My biological mother, Jackie, is in town. Great to see you, Jackie. My brother, Patrick. Countless other relatives. Yesterday in Saskatchewan, I was told there were 34 relatives that were at our rally. And here we are in the prairies again, celebrating the great Canadian promise that I lived out here growing up in this community. Memories of walking my dog in Fish Creek Park, delivering the Calgary Sun. I was a paper boy. Working at the Calgary Stampede, picking up garbage, cleaning up the canteen, the countless other amazing memories and lessons that I learned right here in Calgary. But the most important lesson of all was that this is a country where hard work gives you a great life, where anybody, or it didn't matter if you started off at the top of the hill or the adopted son of 2 school teachers. If you worked hard, you could build an incredible future for yourself. You could become anything you wanted. That this prairie sky was the limit. And we all know that the prairie sky is the biggest sky in the world, isn't it? That was the promise of Canada. But that promise, after the lost Liberal decade, is broken. Housing costs have literally doubled. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are overtaking our once safe streets. The government has attacked our biggest industries and pushed $500 billion out of our economy. And it's going to get a lot worse if, God forbid, the Liberals get a 4th term. Just today, Mark Carney went to a steel mill to announce that he wants to jack up the industrial carbon tax on steel. That's his plan. Yeah, he actually said the carbon tax on steel would be good for the steel industry. Remember, that sounds an awful lot like when Justin Trudeau told us that a carbon tax at the pumps would be good for your pocketbook. We all know that turned out to be a lie. Now Mark Carney is repeating the same lies on this and other things in order to distract Canadians from the lost Liberal decade. He not only wants to continue Trudeau's identical policies of overspending, overtaxing, and blocking our industries, his platform, which was originally written for Justin Trudeau, calls for $130 billion of additional uncosted spending, bringing the total planned debt that Liberals would add over the next 4 years to that's just his share, to $250 billion, $250 billion more inflationary debt that would drive up the cost of living, of food, of accommodation, of living in this country. My friends, we cannot afford a 4th Liberal term. Canada needs change. 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 And it's not just about the past. It's about the future. We know the Liberals have published this document. Has anybody had a chance to have a look at this? It's called Policy Horizons. This really is the Liberal platform right here. This is what the government of Canada predicts that life will look like in 15 years if things continue on their current track. They say social mobility will be almost unheard of in Canada. People will no longer be able to get ahead through their hard work, and more likely, they will be falling behind. In 2040, owning a home is simply not realistic, they predict. They further go on to say that the economy could shrink and become even less predictable. Finally, they say that we'll be headed towards an aristocracy. That's their word, not mine. As money and wealth are concentrated in the hands of a shrinking class of privileged insiders. And it will get so bad, they say, that people will no longer be able to afford to go to a grocery store. They'll have to hunt, fish, and forage on public lands in violation of government regulations just to stay alive. My friends, this is what the Liberals say they have in store for us. I encourage every Canadian to go and read this report, Future Lives, Social Mobility in Question. Look at the section called More Snakes Than Ladders. That is not the future we need. That is not the future we will have. What we need is to bring home change and hope for every single Canadian. Bring it home.
Did we lose this? What happened to the feed?
And we have a plan. And we have a plan for change.
Oh, the audio, but no video. This is frozen.
That's going to reverse the lost Liberal decade, to do exactly the opposite of what we've seen over the last 10 years.
Well, we can hear it anyway.
First of all, it proposes to cut the Liberal deficit by 70% by eliminating 50. That's right. Give that a round of applause. We are going to cut $54 billion of bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, and other wasteful spending to bring down the inflationary deficits. We'll put that money back in your pockets. We believe that hard work should actually pay off. You shouldn't be punished for the crime of working hard. You should have reward for putting in those long hours, for helping your family. Right now we have something, it's a fine for the crime of hard work. Who would like a copy of the platform? I'm going to give a copy to this guy right here. There you go. The crime of hard work is punished with high Liberal taxes that increasingly eat away at your paycheck. In fact, today, after a lost Liberal decade, Canadians spend more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined. Income tax is the crime you pay, is the tax you pay, the fine you pay for the crime of working hard. We can no longer afford these taxes, and that's why Conservatives will cut your income tax by 15% so hard work pays off for a change. But we won't stop there. Our plan will cut taxes on energy. We know that energy powers our economy. The Liberal carbon tax has crippled us over the last several years. We know that Mr. Carty says the tax should go up on industry, and we know they'll put it back at the pumps the day after the next election if, God forbid, they get a fourth term. Not Conservatives. We know that energy is necessary, energy abundance, energy wealth, and that is why Conservatives will axe the entire carbon tax for everyone, for real, for a change. And then we'll cut taxes on cars. The Liberals don't believe you should be able to drive a gas or diesel-powered automobile. So they've come up with this plan. I call it the Carney tax. The first syllable says it all. They want to tax any automobile powered by gas or diesel that goes above their preset an ever-declining quota. So their goal is to beginning next year, to begin banning the sale of gas and diesel powered vehicles. Anybody live out in the country? Yeah. Can you survive out in Lloydminster or Fort Mac or Carstairs, driving out to the farm in an electric car in minus 40-degree weather in February? Well, Mr. Carney believes that you have to. His plan would put a $20,000 car tax on any diesel and gas-powered vehicles that go above his preset quota, a quota that will decline every year until 2035, when he says these cars will be banned altogether. Conservatives will axe the Carney tax. We will put you back in the driver's seat and let you decide what car to drive. For a change.
Okay, so we're gonna pull out of that, which it keeps freezing up anyway. But Carney did go to Sault Ste. Marie to the Algoma steel mill, as Poilievre indicated. We're going to run some of that clip for you now so you can assess for yourself what Carney said. And I haven't listened to this yet, so this is a first for you as it is for me.
Il menace nos travailleurs.
Well, I think it's a first for
Il
you.
menace les économies de nos retraités. President Trump, his words and actions, he wants to divide us because dividing us would make his job easier. He's trying to break us so that America can own us. And that will never happen. We will stand with the auto workers, with the forestry workers, the aluminum workers, and above all, the steel workers. We will stand with every single Canadian worker targeted by President Trump's attacks on our country. We will stand with you. And crucially, we will fight, protect, and build. We have implemented our own counter tariffs, which will cause maximum damage in the U.S. and have only minimal impact here. On steel and aluminum, our tariffs match fully the scale of the U.S. assault. And we are returning all of the proceeds, every dollar, from those tariffs to protect our workers and the businesses that are most affected by this trade war. Anticipating this crisis and the severity of the crisis from day one, my government has helped Canadian businesses weather the storm. We're providing companies with the option of up to $40 billion in liquidity or direct financing, including by deferring tax payments. This will allow those companies to take longer-term decisions without undue pressures from short-term trade actions. A few weeks ago, in Windsor, we pledged to create a $2 billion strategic response fund that will fortify the entire Canadian auto supply chain, from finished vehicles to steel. We launched a Made in Canada strategy to address a Made in America problem. We're developing new markets with reliable partners. We have never taken our eye off the ball. We're also using all levers available, everything that's available to the government to support our steel industry. We will maximize Canadian steel, aluminum, and critical minerals from exploration through to battery production. We'll maximize the use of those materials to seize this economic opportunity to create higher paying jobs and ultimately to build the strongest economy in the G7. We will now deploy a Made in Canada procurement strategy that will prioritize Canadian steel, Canadian aluminum, and Canadian critical minerals. We will create Buy Canadian standards for federal infrastructure funding and for national defense projects to maximize our use of Canadian steel. This, as we boost Canadian domestic defense industries, and I stress domestic defense industries in production, as we build security relationships with our most reliable partners, including in Europe. Ça inclut la participation du Canada au plan Réarme Europe pour appuyer la sécurité transatlantique tout en générant des investissements ici au Canada. Nous allons utiliser tous les outils à notre disposition en tirant profit des avancées technologiques et autres innovations pour bâtir des maisons à un rythme qui n'a pas été vu depuis la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. In our strategy to double home building, we'll invest in our homegrown building industry, supporting workers and businesses and driving the adoption of Canadian mass timber, modular, prefabricated technologies. This too will benefit our key industries, including steel. We will unite our country and invest in nation-building infrastructure on a scale not seen in generations. This means major nation-building projects, ports, rails, bridges, tunnels, and much more. Projects that will connect Canada and grow our economy in ways that last for generations. Again, benefiting key industries, including steel. And in this process, we will safeguard our economy and our values. Nous travaillons en partenariat avec les provinces, les territoires et les communautés autochtones pour accélérer la réalisation de projets majeurs. Nous allons bâtir ces projets d'intérêt national à une vitesse sans précédent, en utilisant l'acier et l'aluminium d'ici, les minéraux critiques d'ici, les travailleurs d'ici et les entreprises d'ici. Nous allons doubler le nombre de logements que nous construisons par année en nous appuyant sur l'expertise de nos travailleurs et entreprises et en utilisant le bois canadien. Nous allons bâtir une seule économie canadienne, pas 13. Bâtir une économie canadienne forte. Bâtir un Canada fort. Nous allons mettre en position de force, une position de force pour négocier et renégocier des attentes commerciales. We can control our economic destiny with the right plan. A plan that uses overwhelming force to overcome the anxieties that people naturally feel, to break through the fog of uncertainty that businesses face, and above all, to replace what the crisis is taking away. As the private sector retreats, government needs to step up to provide direction, to catalyze action and investment. And that's what our plan to build Canada strong will do. Pierre Poilievre has no plan to stand up to President Trump. He's literally grasping at straws as Canada faces the gravest crisis of our lifetimes. He's pledging to end childcare, dental care, pharmacare, the CBC. He's ignoring the investments we need to build the strongest economy that works for everyone. He's offering Canadians instead a fantasy of fiscal tricks and phantom growth. In contrast, we will catalyze up to $500 billion in investment and create a total of up to $20,000 in economic value for every Canadian over the next 5 years. Because, unlike Pierre Poilievre, I've managed budgets before. I've managed economies before. I've managed crises before. This is a time for experience, not experiments. And as I have been clear from the start, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country, and we will fight them. Because we know that in a crisis, you have to prepare for the worst, not hope for the best. You must build forward, not cut back. In a crisis, you need bold action, not tired ideology. And above all, in a crisis, we need to bring people together, not pull them apart. Le choix devant nous ne pourrait pas.
Okay. So let's cut to the chase here and get to his comment on the steel. I did find an isolated clip, which I can share with you here. This is what Poilievre is referring to. I'm going to run this, and I haven't had time to preview it, but I'm hoping it isn't taken out of context.
Well, there's a looming trade war with the United States and the industrial carbon tax in place. I'm wondering if in your plans to support Canadian industries, you would consider exempting companies from the industrial carbon tax, particularly like ones like Algoma Steel, which are actively working towards having greener technologies in place in the near future.
So what's happening is that there's a couple things here. One is that there's a value to that industrial carbon tax in the predictability of that tax and the certainty around. It encourages the types of investments that help companies such as Algoma leapfrog their competitors, and leapfrog in many cases their American competitors, but international competitors.
Well, there's a looming trade war with the United States.
I don't like that. I don't think we've got the full clip. There's something, I don't like it. Let's take a little break. I'm going to try and cue up the section of the raw interview so I can hear exactly what he said. Stay with me.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's go to the Q&A with media, and I just want to make sure we're not getting some distorted clip. Okay, so because I want you guys to have full context so you can make your own assessment.
Big polluters pay for the adoption of green technologies to make up for the lost emission cuts from getting rid of the consumer carbon price.
Yes.
But your platform makes it sound like that might be optional for companies. So can you explain to us how that's going to work?
Yeah.
Why you think that we should be doing this now when companies like this are struggling so much with the trade war and with the tariffs?
Well, so there's a couple of things. And we're in Algoma, so it's a great question because we have three aspects of our climate plan that are relevant here. One is there is an industrial carbon price, but the question is what happens with the proceeds from that carbon price, and to what extent is it reinvested in the industry? And we're literally about to see the reality of that as the electric arc line comes on, and the 70% reduction in carbon that comes from that through SIF investments, partnerships, Canada Infrastructure partnerships with the province of Ontario, and of course the drive of the workers and the innovation here at Algoma. So that's an example. That's one example. The second example, which is something we've also committed to, Alex, which is as our businesses, as our big industry decarbonize, we don't want foreign steel coming here that's high carbon, right? From Asia, from America. So we will have a carbon border adjustment mechanism that prevents that from happening and puts them in a stronger position. So that's the second. And then the third aspect is we have this carbon market that's in place, and we have an opportunity so that the large polluters, on the marginal reductions that they make, that they can pay for people's climate smart choices. It will end up being a more efficient market for them. The government will stand in the middle and make sure that people have clear incentives, and if we are elected, we will put this in place for home retrofits, for better heating systems, for EVs. And then in that way, the two markets come together. It's better for the country, it's much more efficient, and it will lead to higher and faster reductions. A little closer, please.
Oh, sorry, just to be clear, if I understand what you're saying, will that system impose a new cost on companies like this, and how will that work?
No, in fact, Alex, thank you for the clarifying. It will actually reduce their costs in the end because it'll give them more options on what they can do to reduce. Yeah.
Next question.
Okay. Plus près et plus loin.
Check, 1, 2.
Merci.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Pour revenir sur votre conversation que vous avez eue avec M. Trump le 28 mars, vous vous êtes défendu hier, M.
Okay, let's see if we can get past this French since we're an English program. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, hang on. Okay, this is where he's talking about that phone call with Trump in more detail that he had. Oh, hang on.
The context,
this is about the
what's
phone call.
most important in a discussion, a meeting, is the conclusions of the meeting. The conclusions of this discussion with the president were clear, that he respected Canada as a sovereign country, that we will meet as two sovereign nations, the Prime Minister and the President, after Monday's election, to have comprehensive discussions about the economic and security partnership. I advised him that we would be retaliating against any auto tariffs, which we did. And I also advised him, I didn't say this in French, but that I would be working hard to gain Canadians' trust. And that leads me to the final point that I said in French, that this election is crucial because Canadians are deciding on Monday, and the people of Sault Ste. Marie in Northern Ontario could be decisive in this, who is going to be Prime Minister, who will be facing the President in those negotiations, which will start in very short term, which will have huge ramifications for this industry, the steel industry that we're in, and Canadians across this country. I'm working hard to earn their trust. Thank you.
Question.
Good morning, Mr. Carney.
Good morning.
This is Pramit Mukherjee from Reuters. In 2022, the Liberal Party imposed the luxury tax, which impacted the sale of Bombardier jets and the aviation and the aerospace industry, and a lot of high-value production as well. Since you are trying to promote high-value production, Canadian manufacturing, steel, aluminium, is that something the Liberal Party or you as a Prime Minister will look at revoking or removing?
It's an interesting question. I'm going to give you a straight answer. It's not something I've looked directly at. Where we have concentrated our efforts is where will we have the maximum impact? So let me give you an example to that. Some of you sat through what maybe was the least interesting speech that I've given, and I know there's competition for that, but which was about defense procurement and the change to our defense procurement mechanism so we can be much faster and we can be much more Canadian in our defense procurement. Because we are literally going to be spending over $100 billion in defense procurement over the course of the next 5 years. And almost all of that money has been going south of the border. We want much more of it to go north of the border, including back up into Canadian steel. So you see the opportunities. So where we've focused is where we can have a maximum impact. And the question you ask is, yes, right on the margin, but in the grand scheme of things is not, if I may say, that important, and so I haven't looked at it. We haven't looked at it yet. Thank you.
Prochaine question.
Bonjour, Monsieur Carney, Mélanie
Oui,
Marquis
bonjour.
de La Presse. J'ai deux questions
Okay.
pour le prix d'une.
And again, we're going to pull this down and try to get to the English portion. Coming up. Here we go.
Transparency. Canada's ethics laws have been widely criticized as inadequate, particularly as a check on the Prime Minister's office and his powers. On access to information, the system is bogged down, excessive redactions. It's viewed as not working. Yet your platform is essentially silent on those two issues. So what commitments are you prepared to make to improve Canada's ethics regime and access to information system?
I think, Bill, you ask an important question. Yes, it's not in the platform. It's in my head. And so I will now, against the advice of my advisors, let it out of my head, which is I do think looking at access to information is quite important. The speed with which the information is provided, and as you say, the redactions that I think, I'm happy to commit to having a review of that, because I do find that, at least as an outsider, I've been an outsider until now, and as a consumer of it, that I sometimes can't always follow the process, if you will. So an objective review of that would serve Canadians well, regardless of the result of the election. Thank you.
Ethics?
Look, I think there have been a number of reinforcements over the course of the last decade on the ethics side. I think that I would distinguish between the rules and the conduct. If there are specific proposals, obviously we would look at them. But what's important is bringing that spirit of obviously the highest integrity. I think my track record is consistent with that, but also that commitment that goes with it to transparency, which was the second part of your question. Thank you.
Next question.
Glenn McGregor, City News. Also not on your platform was electoral reform.
Yeah.
The predecessor, Justin Trudeau, when he was first elected, promised to end the first-past-the-post system, have a more representative system.
Yeah.
Will you make the same commitment? If you were elected Prime Minister, will you revisit changing the current electoral system?
I think we didn't have it in our platform. Government's about making priorities, and given the scale of the economic crisis that we're facing, the security crisis we're facing, our commitment to supporting Canadians through a range of social programs and recommitting there, that candidly is not. Yes, it is not in the platform. I will give you my personal view on it, which is that I think as a Prime Minister should be neutral on these issues, so that if a process is developed, that they are objective and not being seen to tip the scales in one direction or another. And I think that, if I may, looking back on what happened previously, that probably is part of what stalled progress on it. So there may be a point, Glenn, where we've advanced on other immediate pressing priorities, particularly the crisis. That's our intention. That those more structural issues in our democracy could be addressed. Thank you. En français, en ce qui concerne ça, c'est...
All right. So as I sit and listen to that, I'm like, what is he talking about? Because I have to say, he does not always come across clearly when he's explaining these sort of complicated economic issues. And on this carbon tax thing, as I'm listening to him, it's not clear to me how he thinks this application of the carbon tax will ultimately reduce the cost of production for Algoma steel. Now, I can say that Canadian steel companies are using production technology more advanced than what is being used on the U.S. side generally. They're less efficient down there. They're older facilities on the U.S. side generally. Some of the ovens they have down there, as I've indicated in previous shows, over 100 years old. That's why the U.S. steel industry is not really competitive. And up in Canada, to produce aluminum, steel, they're using a lot more electricity than coal. But I don't understand exactly what he was saying there, frankly. So he needs to learn how to communicate in a clearer, simpler way to get these complex ideas across to the public. Or maybe I don't know. How does applying the carbon tax, but it ends up costing them less? I can see it if they're getting rebates back, but honestly, couldn't quite clue in on it. And that's where I'm at with that. So I need to look at all that again. That left low-hanging fruit for Poilievre today, didn't it? So the Conservatives are able to capitalize on it and hammer him with social media posts today saying that it didn't make sense, which it's vague. So he lost on that front. 3 days left in the election. Jagmeet Singh, NDP, where is he? Back in Ontario, vote-rich Ontario, seat-rich Ontario, and he's in my hometown of London, Ontario. Here he is. This is what he had to say.
Time of uncertainty, in a time where we've got a lot of stuff going on, trade war, Donald Trump, uncertainty, high cost of living, do you think it's the right time to cut healthcare? No. Wait a second, is it ever the right time to cut healthcare? No. So if Mark Carney has all the power, Liberals are going to do what Liberals always do. Ignore people, cut the services you need, and if the Conservatives are the only ones in opposition, then you're going to have the worst of Carney and the worst of Conservatives. So we've got a very important job to let people know. If you believe in defending public, universal health care, if you believe that everybody in this country should have a decent place to live, afford their groceries, then vote NDP. Send New Democrats to Ottawa. And here's the reason why. We've shown you that everything that we're proud of as Canadians, every single thing, when you ask someone, why are you proud to be a Canadian? Why do we never want to be the 51st state? People say, well, because of our health care. That's one of the first things people will say. You know what? If we get sick, we go to the doctor, we go to the hospital, get treated. In the States, you get sick, you go bankrupt. We don't want that here. But how do we get health care? Well, because people like you all voted for New Democrats like Tommy Douglas, and he went to Ottawa and forced the government to bring in universal public health care for all. In fact, pensions, old age security, employment insurance, each one of these things happened when New Democrats had power and forced the government to deliver. And most recently, because you gave us the power, because you used your vote and sent Lindsay Matheson and 24 of us to Ottawa, we fought for an expanded health care for the first time in a generation with dental care. Millions of people in our country have been able to see a dentist because you voted for us, because you gave us that power. And you know, it's hard to imagine a million, millions, almost 2 million people have received dental care. It's hard to imagine what that means. So let me tell you a story about a person in particular to let you know what this means to be able to get dental care. Let me tell you the story of Sue. Sue is a senior. She's living on a fixed income. She's worked her whole life. I met her in Ottawa. She got her dental care card in the mail, and we were asking people if we could hear their feedback. How's it working? She said, you know what? Come with me to the dentist. I was a little nervous. She was a little nervous too, I think, and so we were there together at the dentist's office. And I remember being in the office with her, and she told her story to the dentist and the denturist. And she said, I'm a senior, I'm living on a fixed income, and I'm a cancer survivor. She beat cancer. But in beating cancer, the treatment meant she lost her teeth. And she was in a rough way, and she felt pretty embarrassed by her teeth. She had almost no teeth left. And she had this picture with her that she pulled out. The picture was her with a smile. And she had this beautiful smile. And she said to the dentist and the denturist, I just want my smile back. And the dentist looked at the denturist, and they looked at her, and they said, we're going to get you it back. It's going to be covered with this program. And I was with her when she broke down in tears of joy and said, you're going to give me back my dignity. You're going to give me back my smile. Imagine 2 million people like Sue. That's what we did for Canadians. That's what we delivered for people. When we have power, we use it for people. When we have power, we deliver for people. I'll tell you one more story. There is one of the first meetings I did when I first became leader. It was back when the center block was still open. Now it's shut down for like 15 years. So we're at the center block, and I was a meeting with a young boy, 10-year-old, and his dad. And he came into my office, sat down, we had a chat, and he was telling me about his disease. He's type 1 diabetic, so it means he was born with diabetes. And he was telling me how he's got to do blood tests and injections and watch his blood levels, and if he doesn't, he might die. I'm like, wow, 10-year-old kid, just casually talking about that he might die. I'm like, what's that like for you? He said, oh, I'm fine. I got this. But there's one thing I'm worried about. I'm like, what is it? He said, I'm worried about how much my medication costs my parents. 10-year-old kid was worried about being a burden. I'm like, listen, I'm going to fight like hell. I probably didn't say hell because he's a little kid. I'm going to fight as hard as I can to make sure you don't feel like a burden anymore. And then he left the office, and I thought, I'm going to fight, but I don't know if I can deliver that. It's a huge thing. Promise made, promise delivered. We have 3 provinces. One more time. We have 3 provinces where we have signed an agreement where everyone in BC, Manitoba, and PEI will get free diabetes medication and devices because of New Democrats. Now we know there's a lot more that needs to be done. We know that people need help with their rent, so if you want to see national rent control to protect renters, vote NDP. We know people are hurting with the cost of groceries. So if you want to see a price cap on food essentials to bring down food and take on the corporate grocery store giants, vote NDP. If you want to see our healthcare not just defended, but we invest in hiring more family doctors, more nurses, more frontline healthcare workers, so everyone in our country has access to a primary care provider, vote NDP. NDP. So my friends, we know that Ottawa works best when one party doesn't have all the power. More specifically, Ottawa works best throughout our history, recent and past. Ottawa works best when there are strong New Democrats fighting for everyday people in Ottawa. So don't let people tell you we got to shut up and be quiet and sit this one out. We got to be tall and strong and defiant and let people know that the progressive choice in ridings across this country are New Democrats, not Liberals. It's New Democrats who can be conservatives in so many ridings. So get out there and knock on those doors. Make those phone calls. Find every single vote we can, and let's win in this election for people, for the working class, for the middle class. Use your power and vote with your heart, vote with your values, vote for who you believe in, and you believe that New Democrats are the ones that are going to fight for you and defend what matters most to you and your family. So are you ready to get out there and fight? Are you ready to fight for people? Are you ready to take on the powerful and lift up everyday folks? Let's get out there and do it. Let's do it.
Okay. We'll see if they survive the election on Monday, because the polls are not looking too good for the NDP. And Poilievre, just show you this. After he was out in Nanaimo today too, BC. But that's what you can do when you have an aeroplane flying you around, Trump style. You go from one part of the country to the other in a matter of hours and hold multiple rallies. And here he is in Nanaimo, not so much for a rally, but for a campaign stop, where he is meeting with campaign supporters. Looks like he's at some sort of a charity place, or I don't know what this is. Let's just let it roll and we'll find out.
Where do you want me to set up here? Right around here? Sure. Okay, great. So this is the dry pasta.
There's a food bank.
There we go. And then dry pasta. You want to get that one? Thanks for all your work, guys.
Very welcome.
Yeah, I think we got canned,
Just down this way.
canned and
We've got beans here.
tomato sauce.
Pasta sauce can come over here.
Thank you. There we go.
Beans over here, so that's Where should we put the corn? Can go in there.
Good stuff. This is all the canned foods going here.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
The fruit?
You want canned food in there as well?
That can go in there as well.
Okay, lots of vitamin C for everybody. Good. All right, we're emptied out. Good stuff. Where would you like me to put this? Back here. Hi there.
Well, there's a photo op of a
You're all very
one.
There was a little hamper back there that I was supposed to take. By the time I got there, one of your crew had already grabbed it. So I can tell you're very focused on getting the job done around here. Absolutely. Right on. Really nice to meet you, sir. Really nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you, sir. Yes, thanks for your hard work.
Thank you.
Sir.
I don't want to.
That's okay. Good to see you,
Thank you.
sir.
Nice to meet you.
Many blessings to you. Oh, say hello to this nice gentleman here. Okay. Hi there. Good to see you. Thanks for your hard work. Really appreciate it. I know that Tamara volunteers here often, so she's a good member of the team, and you'll be seeing a lot more of her.
Yes. Another plan. Yeah.
So anyway, listen, it's been a tough while here for people. It's hard to afford food these days. People are working harder and harder, and the food bills go up faster than their paychecks.
Absolutely.
So we think it's time for a change, so people can afford good food and homes and safe neighborhoods. That's what we're running for. So, merci beaucoup tout le monde. And we're going to bring home safe food, safe streets, decent food, affordable homes. That's what we need for the future. On a besoin de l'épicerie abordable, des logements que les gens peuvent acheter, des communautés sécuritaires.
Okay, so we'll see if that pays off for him on Monday. And I'll be here Monday, obviously, providing election coverage. I haven't really got it all planned out yet, so I'll mull that over a little bit overnight and into tomorrow and come up with a more concrete plan. Maybe I'll just sit in the chair and maybe we'll do a little call-in action and you guys can join the conversation and help with the coverage. I'm not sure. Not sure yet. Let's take a little break. We'll come back and then we'll dig into some other top news today. I'll be right back after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right. So this is something that I wanted to touch on last night, but we didn't get to it. I just wanted to briefly mention the attack on Kyiv. 12 people killed in a Russian attack involving, I believe it was, how many missiles did they put into the city? I think it was 9. and over 100 drones. I think that's what it was. We've got some images here to share with you tonight from that attack. And then actually, Trump was posting right after that, saying, Vladimir Putin, stop the attacks. It's ridiculous, frankly.
Власне, що сьогодні відбулося.
This is
Це момент влучання.
you can see the attacks there in that
Це просто жесть.
on the screen. And this is the result. And 80 people, in addition to the 12 people killed, civilians, 80 people injured. And it's pretty clear this thing is not over. It was one of the deadliest attacks on Kyiv since July of last year. And all this while, we do see efforts to try and bring some sort of a peace resolution there, but the Trump administration really not effective in this regard at all. And in this Time magazine report, where they have this exclusive interview with President Trump ahead of his 100-day mile marker, he's saying that when it came to him making reference to ending the conflict in 24 hours upon taking office, or maybe even before he takes office, he said he was speaking figuratively. Whatever. Now he's posting on social media saying that he just landed in Rome for the Pope's funeral. A good day in talks and meetings with Russia and Ukraine. They are very close to a deal, he says again today. And the two sides should now meet at very high levels to finish it off. Most of the major points are agreed to. Stop the bloodshed now. We will be wherever is necessary to help facilitate the end to this cruel and senseless war. All that after we saw Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, say that he was just going to skip the meetings because it didn't look like Ukraine was willing to give up, how much of its country? About 30, 40% something, not recognizing Crimea as Russian territory officially. And if you go through the deal, you can totally understand why Ukraine would take that position. But the Europeans said, okay, you don't want to show up, USA? That's okay. We're going to be there. And they went. And it looks like Trump doesn't have any choice. One way or another, he's going to have to participate in this, or the U.S. team. So they have to, they're too involved. So they were just going to walk away. I don't know where this is going. This is so unusual, the whole thing. So just we'll just continue to watch. That's all we can do at this point. And here's talking about Trump going to Rome. This is him on Air Force One on the way over, on his way over to the Pope's funeral. Again, everything around this presidency is just weird. And listen to what he says when he's asked. Oh, wait a second. That's not the clip that I wanted. Hang on. He's asked about going to the funeral. Do I have it? Or did I lose the clip? Here we go. This is the one I want. Yeah, going to the Pope's funeral. And this is just... Somehow he manages to make it all about him. The answer. Here we go. Listen to the way he talks.
Why did you feel it was important to go to the Pope's funeral? just thought it was out of respect. You know, I won the Catholic vote, and I think it's the first time that ever happened where a Republican won the vote, and I won it by a lot. And, you know, I have a great relationship to the Catholics. Very simple. What do you think of it? But I won the Catholic vote. We got 56% of the vote. I don't know why we didn't get more, actually. I don't know how they got any. But we did well with the Catholic vote, and my relationship is very good. So therefore, you know, I think it's appropriate.
It's just, why are you going to the Pope's funeral? Because we won the Catholic vote. Like, I understand the politics behind winning the Catholic vote and how difficult that can be for him. But to connect winning the vote to going to the Pope's funeral, that's not why you go to the Pope's funeral. You go to the Pope's funeral because it's the right thing to do, out of actual respect, not for the people who voted for you so much as respect for the Pope and people of faith. And because that's not because they, you know, it's not payback for having people vote for you. Well, if they hadn't voted for me, I wouldn't have gone. Oh man. What can I say? It just gets stranger every day. What a weird guy. What else do we have? Speaking of weirdness, you know, back to Canadian politics for a moment. Yves-François Blanchet, Quebec separatist, today comes out. And how does he refer to Canada? As an artificial country. Now, you see, I've been saying for some time, people who want to blow the country apart, they have said, and this actually goes back to Major Vallely, if you are familiar with that story that we did here. He indicated that the key to having Canada fly apart and disintegrate is to convince people that the country is not real. And that is what you're getting from these sovereign citizens, from separatists. It's a recurring theme in their narrative that Canada is not real, that it's a myth. Well, that the idea that Canada is a myth can actually be easily debunked. The people who watch the videos or listen to the narrative generally can't get past the confusing information that is laid out, and it's finding its way into the rhetoric of some of Canada's actual leaders who are separatists. Yves-François Blanchet, Bloc Québécois, he's there in Parliament to represent, well, the separatist movement in Quebec, which is to say that he's in Parliament trying to destroy the country by having Quebec eventually separate or work in partnership with Canada. But this talk that he uses here ties right into all of this Canada is not a real country crap that they feed off it.
Yesterday you said that you were an MP in a foreign parliament.
Yeah.
You are working pretty hard to hold the balance of power of that parliament. Isn't it this the definition of foreign interference?
We are, either we like it or not, part of an artificial country with very little meaning called Canada. Many people in Canada write to me and say, we'd like to have the same as Quebec has. As long as we're part of it and we get elected in this parliament, we are entitled to any right and privilege and opportunity being provided by the persons who vote. And I will relinquish none of them. And if it's a foreign parliament because this nation is not mine. I don't feel more at ease in the Canadian Parliament than Mrs. Smith would feel at ease in the Assemblée nationale du Québec.
Huh. He's not the only one using that kind of language. They're in cahoots, aligning with Western separatists. Yeah. If you're upset because of that ongoing Canada is not a real country, Quebec separatist sentiment, if you're tired of that and you're not comfortable and you don't like it, I don't know why anybody would be more comfortable or comfortable in any other way with what's coming out of the West, because they're echoing each other. They have one common interest. They don't have anything else in common, I guess. But the one thing they do have in common is they'd like to tear the country apart. And that's finding its way into the West, as I say. And even people are kind of like still, well, maybe we could still look at, finding a way forward and reconciliation or counseling or something. They keep comparing it to like a bad marriage. But here's Keith Wilson. I would definitely describe him as a Western separatist from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms lawyer. Masks coming off. And Keith Wilson, his lawyer, making it pretty clear where his views lie, which is to say that he'd like to see Alberta pull away from Canada, and he's ramping that up and sharing all kinds of media posts like this one, where again, what does he say here in his post? Let's just, I'll read it to you. He says, and I'll show you on the screen. With this post, he says, is Alberta still loyal to a Canada that doesn't exist? Many feel the Canada they once cherished is a myth, shattered by years of neglect and recent betrayals. It's time to question what this nation truly stands for and where Alberta fits. Alberta independence. And I did watch some of this this podcast.
So this
is a Bruce Pardy and Lawrence Solomon.
There's an interesting tension in Alberta between loyalty to Canada and the desire to be independent. And that's understandable. You're part of a country and you've thought of yourself as a citizen of that country. But my question for Albertans is, at this moment in time, what is it that they believe that they would be loyal to or defending? I mean, what is the Canada that you think you belong to? Because the experience of an awful lot of people very recently, especially during COVID, was that the country that they thought they lived in does not actually exist. It was a thing they carried around in their heads. And I would have thought that the way Alberta has been treated over time would have demonstrated to Albertans that whatever it was that they thought Canada was, it actually isn't that at all.
Well, yeah, you can don't let a crisis go to waste. They always say. And some people are certainly making the most of the pandemic, and they continue to do that. And when I was going through that period of time, as you were, for me, it's always been about getting back to where we need to be as a country, fixing the things that allowed the government overreach, not destroying the country. You don't save a country by destroying it. And I'll say this, these people who keep saying things like that, they're saying that they're not telling you what to expect on the other side. What's it really going to look like on the other side? They're promising you a tax breaks, but they're not giving you the full picture. And I've heard also people saying things like, and I think it might have been that gentleman right there, and another podcast saying, don't ask what it's going to look like. We're getting into undiscovered country territory. We just have to move forward. That's a very dangerous thing, I would say. You don't know where you're going. You're just going to destroy what you have in favor of something that you don't know. But don't be afraid. Just have faith, I guess, and just jump in head first. Ill-advised, I would say. You're probably going to miss what you have when it's gone if these people are successful in destroying the country and tearing it down. I'm not there. Because they're spinning up lies. I just keep seeing lie after lie after lie. The whole Canada is a myth thing is a lie. Canada's not a myth. Canada's a damn miracle. It's just that some people are greedy. They want more money, more power.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, 51st state stuff. Still front and center in the election. And Trump just occupying lots of space. Strange things again today, too, just on the justice front. Oh, further, too, to that Kyiv attack, the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte on Fox News making reference to this, saying that, if you're winning the war, as Russia claims to be, you don't fire missiles into center of a city at civilian targets. Here he is.
Why? It's terrible. What happened yesterday is a sign of weakness by the Russians, that they are not winning this. You are not going to send missiles to residential areas outside Kyiv. I was visiting the beautiful city of Odessa together with President Zelensky 2 weeks ago. That city is also under constant Russian fire. If you're winning a war, you are not going to do that. It is a sign of weakness. It is terrible. There are 12 people dead in Kyiv. Innocent people just living and going about their lives of every day. Small children being hurt. We have seen all the footage. It really it cries your heart out when you see it.
So yesterday.
And then we're seeing as well this story about the FBI in Milwaukee arresting County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan today, alleging that she obstructed federal authorities by helping an undocumented immigrant avoid detention. Authorities claim Dugan escorted the individual and his defense attorney through a non-public jury door at the Milwaukee County Courthouse. The arrest, announced by FBI Director Kash Patel on X, marks a significant escalation in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, targeting local officials who interfere with federal enforcement. That's pretty unusual, maybe unprecedented. Patel stated Dugan's actions endangered the public by misdirecting agents who later apprehended the individual after a foot chase. Attorney General Pam Bondi, speaking on Fox News, condemned Dugan's alleged conduct, calling it shameful and emphasizing that no one is above the law. Well, almost no one. DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin echoed this, accusing activist judges of obstructing the administration's mandate to secure the homeland. Here's the clip with Pam Bondi. Basically, this is, boy, I don't know. Is this actual justice or is this the politicization of the justice system?
Madam
What's
Attorney
happened to our judiciary is beyond me.
Yeah, so when the American public hears this and they think these were once upstanding people in their communities and their professions, and they put it all on the line for this, I mean, have you dug into their motive? Like, what inspired them to carry out these acts and harbor criminals?
They're deranged is all I can think of. I cannot believe, I think some of these judges think they are beyond and above the law, and they are not. And we're sending a very strong message today. If you are harboring a fugitive, we don't care who you are. If you are helping hide one, if you are giving a TDA member guns, anyone who is illegally in this country, we will come after you and we will prosecute you. We will find you.
If I could just...
This is a showdown between Trump and the judiciary. This is a legal tug of war, an arm wrestle. Who has the real authority? Who is the law? I don't like the rhetoric either. I don't like the way this is being spun. Why is it that as I'm listening to her, Pam Bondi, and she's talking about we're going to come after you, we're going to get you, even judges, going to arrest judges. Why is it that when I listen to that, what comes to mind is the Underground Railroad? This is really, really disturbing stuff. I knew that things were going to get ugly when they were talking about mass deportations. I said this even during the election. I said, what is it going to look like? You're going to have people in riot gear, officers running through the streets, chasing down people, making arrests, putting them on buses and shipping them off to who knows where. And now we're seeing people loaded on airplanes and flown out of the country with, as we talked about last night, no actual due process, violation of even the rights of people who are accused of being in the country illegally. And under the U.S. Constitution and U.S. law, yes, even people in the country under those circumstances are entitled to a degree of due process. They don't have all of the same rights as U.S. citizens, but they do have rights under U.S. law. And it looks to me like those laws are simply being ignored. And yes, this is what comes to mind tonight. The Underground Railroad. Don't know what I'm talking about? You might want to look it up. Maybe we'll talk about it another night. It's definitely worth learning about if you don't know about it. Stay with me.
Maverick News. Expose lies and tell truth. The world is watching.
Okay, John out in Alberta has been working on a story about Hudson Bay Company again. We have an update on that. Stay with me. We're going to pick up John on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda, Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and John Rimby out in Rimby, Scott John in Alberta is joining us live. Here we are, sir. How are you tonight, John?
Well, good evening, Rimby John from Western Canada, Rimby, Alberta, Pierre Poilievre country, Calgary, Trump style. It's your minion from Alberta calling in, sir. Your minion.
Minion. Yeah, okay. Well, let's not get into that stuff. That's too negative tonight. Let's stick to the news of the day, which is this Hudson's Bay story, I guess, right? Because you've been back on the scene and sending us some more photos and stills and images from what mall was that you were at shooting this stuff, John?
That's actually a very sort of upper end mall, Northwest Calgary, next to the Children's Hospital and the University of the Calgary. Market Mall. Been around for over 50 years. I worked there as a teenager for Woodward's food floor in the restaurant department. That's 1,000 years ago, Rickster.
They had a Woodward's department store?
Yeah, we had, the Woodward's brothers. I don't think there were any down east, but yeah, they were a pretty famous department store, Woodward's brothers.
Oh, yeah. We didn't have, I don't think we ever had those out here in Ontario, but.
No, I think they were kind of rich, Alberta and BC. And then unfortunately, I worked there as a teenager in a restaurant. Unfortunately, I think they had a massive ranch just outside Banff, Alberta, cattle ranch. And I think they ended up in a fight and they kind of things ended up being broken up. But yeah, Woodward's was for all of the Alberta, BC dinosaurs up there. Yeah, quite a phenomenal department store.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to go to Woodward's over in Detroit, and back in the before times when they weren't going to arrest you and send you off to a gulag. But anyway, that was just a different time. And I'll tell you, the reason we're discussing this tonight is because we do have this update on the Hudson's Bay Company. It's liquidating all of its remaining stores. Now, this marks the end of like 355 years of retail history. This is like just a dynasty, really, of sorts, kind of coming to an end in Canada. Court documents filed April 23rd, so that's 2 days ago, confirmed that the liquidation sales are now fully underway, and the chain's final 6 stores, which were under some degree of protection in Ontario and Quebec, following a Toronto court ruling that deemed it unlikely for the retailer to find a buyer. Yeah, so what am I? I'm getting a little ahead of myself. They were protected, now they're not. So there was potentially a buyer for those final 6 stores, but that's not happening from what we're understanding. And now everything is going. So Hudson's Bay stores, this is the last gasp. They're liquidating everything. And what does it look like there in Alberta at your Hudson's Bay store tonight, John?
It's pretty sad, Rick. It's just, it's a sign of retail. I don't know if our Canadian viewers with our U.S. viewers are following what's going on in the States, but I mean, this is going on in the United States as well. Like if you look at Beverly Hills, California, Rodeo Drive, half empty for sale, vacant for lease. Same thing going on in Canada. I think, unfortunately, the Bay, they kind of price themselves out of things, Rick. I think kind of like PV Mart, little on the expensive side unless you were buying on sale. And even a sale wasn't even that great of a. Now the stores here now, I think 35 to 70% off. My new photos I sent you.
Yeah, these are all new stores, 40 to 70% off. And that's so now they're getting into the serious liquidation area. The thing that I noticed from these images that you've sent in, John, is that even though they're offering those kinds of deep discounts, and the Bay does have quality merchandise, they're not like your typical 5 and dime store. They have pretty good quality stuff, clothing and some of the upscale brands and cosmetics and so on. And even with those discounts, you're not seeing too many people on the store floor. Like it doesn't look like there are that many people in the store. Am I correct in that, or is that an illusion?
No, you're correct. The first couple of days in Calgary here, the initial sort of going out of business thing was the store was packed, and it was only 10-20% off. And now, they're now getting into some serious territory where, it's a much deeper discount. But it's like they're selling everything as far as I know. Furniture, mannequins. I mean, if it ain't nailed down, and this store at Market Mall in Northwest Calgary, it's probably 250,000 square feet plus. It's the size of it is just, and they were into everything: Polo, Tommy Hilfiger, Chanel. I mean, some pretty high-end stuff, and it's all for sale: cabinets, furniture, mannequins, everything.
Yeah, I know some of those upscale brands, what they'll do, because this happened when Eaton's department stores went out of business in Canada. They carried many upscale brands as well, like perfumes and colognes and makeup. And, some of these companies would go in and they would actually buy back their inventory in order to preserve their price integrity, because those upscale brands don't want their merchandise sold at 40, 70, 80, 90% off. They want to keep the prices up, right? So they'll go in and buy that merchandise back up, reclaim it probably for whatever it was purchased for, maybe at a discount. I don't know, but they do that so that you can't get your hands on some of that high-end merchandise. Nevertheless, I think they do have, and maybe you can tell us if you're seeing this in the store that you're at there in Alberta. Are you seeing some of that high-end merchandise actually being liquidated?
Yes and no. The first couple of days you're showing a picture of the boss guy there. The guys up in the menswear department, second floor, I know them fairly well with my friend Stan. Boss, they boxed everything up and sent it directly back to Boss. They were not discounting anything. So some of these real higher end stuff is being boxed up and shipped back to probably the wholesaler supplier. Other stuff like Polo, it's all been liquidated. I was looking at some mannequins there that said sold, and I talked to a lady the other day and she said, no, those are actually owned by the company that was in here and they want them back.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting mix. I had a nice conversation with a lady that's worked here for like 32 years. And here's the other side of the story, Rick. It's not just a Canadian institution being, liquidated and they've been refunded and financed, I think, by Wall Street 5 times, but it's all these people out of work, Rick.
Yeah.
The lady I talked to the other day, 32 years. And they're in tears, Rick. this is all some of these people know. They've worked for the Bay half of their lifetime, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of jobs being lost. Liquidation sales are expected to last up to 12 weeks, clearing out inventory across all Bay locations. Online sales at thebay.com also will continue their online arm until April. I don't know. Are they still ongoing? Let me just check
I
that.
think so. I think, like, I can only tell you the photos I've sent you from Market Mall, the inventory still in the store, Rick, is unbelievable. They were still putting out new inventory the other day up in the menswear department, like still putting out new. Obviously, it's come out of a Bay warehouse, or it's in their system, and I guess rather than ship it back, they're going to blow it out. But bedding, China, men's and ladies clothing, baby clothing, furniture, like there's a ton of it. They're not short on the inventory, that's for sure.
Yeah, it looks like the sale is continuing. I'm going to show you online here if I can. Yes. So let's bring that down. And then I'll show you the Bay website. They are still active there. So it looks like you can still shop online as well, but I don't think that's going to continue for the full 12 weeks. I don't know why exactly, but you'd almost think that they would continue beyond the bricks and mortar stores liquidation and would be able to go longer with their online sale, but I guess not. Anyway, for now, you can still, it looks like, purchase online merchandise.
Can't redeem your gift cards anymore. If you had a prepaid gift card from grandma or grandpa or your wife, Rick, from Christmas, as of April the 6th, 2025, those were a done deal. So and I imagine it's that way Canada-wide, I would think.
Okay. So
did they just, on the topic, did Hudson Bay not have a major multi-billion-dollar real estate portfolio that they spun off? Because originally a lot of these landmark Hudson Bay stores, like, there's one in downtown Calgary, Edmonton, like I think they owned the building, the real estate. They weren't just renting in a mall. Has all of that been liquidated?
I am checking for you, actually.
Just kind of an interesting side question.
So they owned or managed about 40 million square feet of gross leasable real estate in various locations through its HBC Properties and Investments division. Now, that included some high-profile properties like the flagship store in Toronto on Queen Street, sold to Cadillac Fairview for $650 million, but that was back in 2014. So it looks like they've been, liquidating some of their real estate holdings to prop up their overall retail operations. So yeah, they do have some real estate holdings, but the bottom line is they didn't have enough to keep the business afloat because they still owe something like $1.1 billion, I believe, in debt. So how do you, in today's retail environment, given the slim margins that you get on your merchandise and your markup and the heavy competition from major retailers like Walmart, which is not really in the same, category of retailer, but because of the nature of the economy, so many people more migrating over to places like Walmart, Costco, right? And these upscale stores, certainly in Canada, not being frequented as much. And even with these discounts, you're seeing people aren't even in there flocking to the place to take advantage of the sales to pick up bargains as they're liquidating all of this stuff. So, yeah.
Well, in this particular Market Mall, Northwest Calgary, Alberta, Canada Bay, It is in a Cadillac Fairview Mall. I think the bay in South Center, it is Cadillac Fairview too. And I just know there's lots of vacancies. Like I know Freedom Mobile, my cell guys, the mall is coming around, and like A&W, Kentucky Fried Chicken, like all the food, they've had to do upgrades. And the cell phone guys were going to renew their lease. Now they were paying $7,000 a month allegedly, and they went to renew their lease, and Cadillac Fairview wanted $14,000 a month, and they said no, thank you, bye-bye, we're gone. And I think a lot of these malls they've just outpriced themselves, Rick, and I think they're going to very quickly become graveyards. Within, I think, 10 years. This upper end and Northwest Calgary, where Market Mall is, it's a middle upper end neighborhood. Silver Springs, the University Children's Hospital. I think within 10 years, the mall will be bankrupt, and they'll be building condos or retirement.
Well, there's a cheerful outlook on the future.
Well, sure.
So it's okay. So just tell me, what else, like Hudson's Bay at that mall that you're at, obviously, is one of the anchor stores. Every mall has to have an anchor. So what else is in that mall? And is there any other anchor store there? What kind of impact do you think it will have on this shopping center?
Well, see, 40 some years ago, the Bay was the major anchor at the one end, and then the Woodward's department store, family owned, was the major anchor at the other end, and then they redid the mall. They are the major anchor in the mall. They are the number one Uno.
So what else is in the mall? What kind of stores do you have in there?
Well, there's a bit of everything. There's jewelry stores, Boston Pizza, Milestone restaurants, food court, sunglasses, women's clothing. There's Old Navy. There's a mixture. There's a mixture of everything, but they're on a much smaller. They're not on a 300,000 square foot or 250,000 square feet level like the Bay.
Yeah. You need those anchor stores to keep everything operational there. If you don't have the anchors, it becomes very difficult, and then these things get hollowed out. And we've seen that through history, with downtown malls, the automobile really reshaping the retail landscape over time, because people, because of the automobile moving out to the suburbs, and then these shopping centers were erected on what was once usually farmland, purchased for, a fairly low price, and then they turned it into the most expensive real estate in a community. But they're always located on the outer ring of a city, and then you ended up with donut communities, which we have, all across Canada and much of the United States as well, where you have quite often shopping centers or just downtowns that are really suffering because these shopping centers were set up and it just pulled all the business out to the outer edges of the city, right? Those became the retail hubs on the outer edges. And the people, the businesses that established those shopping centers got filthy, filthy rich. These department stores made money hand over fist for many years, but then times changed. You're seeing the emergence of big box stores, more competition, then now online retailing, and another new reality and other economic challenges facing them right now. So as a result, this is where we're at tonight. Hudson's Bay Stores, founded in 1670 in Canada, is when the company was set up, and they are now liquidating everything that they have, including not just the retail stuff, not just the merchandise, but also real estate holdings, and they even have an art collection that is very historic, and a lot of Canadian history attached to that, John, and all that is going as well.
Well, if it ain't nailed down, it's for sale at the Bay. But I mean, honestly, you've got Amazon, you've got all this online shopping now. The woke kids, like I'm an old dinosaur like you. I love to touch, feel, and taste the merchandise. and I like to deal with a real person. Like when I go through the grocery store, I want to deal with a real cashier. I don't want to use the machine, the self-check. And I guess it's just the time has come and gone. But let's be really frank here. The Bay was never on the cheap side. I think they've priced themselves pretty well out of the market.
Yeah. Although, what I always found about the Bay is that it wasn't like really high end, but it wasn't like Walmart 5 and dime dollar store stuff. It was just really good quality. It was good quality stuff, some high end merchandise, but not like Tiffany's, but it was sort of middle class upscale. And so if I needed, a good pair of shoes for work, that would be a good place to go. Like a quality pair of dress shoes, or a good, back in the day when I'd wear suits to work, a men's suit, you could get a quality suit there. Or if you weren't going to like a tailor or something, right? But not like a cheap suit, and you get quality shirts, all cotton shirts and things like that in menswear that were, high quality, but not so high quality that it wasn't affordable for a low class lug like me.
Well, but Rick, I'm a total polo guy. I would look at a polo shirt at Hudson Bay at Market Mall, Northwest Calgary, $125. And yet I go from my farm at Rimbey to just south of Edmonton's Leduc, and they've got a premier outlet mall with a polo store there. And I would buy $125 shirts on the discount rack with my family friends discount and my email discount for $22.50. I would buy 5 shirts. The same polo shirt in Calgary was $125 at the Bay, and I'm picking them up for $22.50 tax in Premier Outlet Mall.
Well, folks, the final 6.
I live in Polo. I live in Polo all the time.
Yeah. So the final 6 Bay stores now no longer under protection. So the final stages are upon us. 355 years of Canadian history evaporating before our eyes. Get the deals while you can. Stay with me, John. Speaking of shirts, I'm going to run this little promo here because I think your friend Brandon Pringle and my friend who was on the program last night, he messaged me. I think he might buy the rest of these Trump fight shirts. So
you still have some of those?
Yeah, I do.
Is mine in the mail, Rick, sir?
Well, I told you, man. Just tell me where to send it. But here, I'm going to run this promo. If anybody wants one of these things, speak now or forever hold your peace. I think Brandon messaged me. I don't know if he's going to get them or not. He's if he wants them. Hang on a second here. Maybe he did message.
Well, what sizes do you have, Rick? I'm a 3X.
I don't know. I don't have a 3X, 3 triple X thingy, but we can talk about that more later. Let me just run this promo. If anybody wants one of these things, scoop it up now before they're gone, or you can contact Brandon if he does buy these things up, and he needs some needs. So, and I will make a contribution to the food bank, as I indicated before, if we sell these things. So here's the promo.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, we're back. So yeah, 1-866-248-1490 if you want one of those. And yeah, let me just see here. Other messages coming in. Just got to check this. Yeah, there is a movie tonight, by the way. Do you want to help me with the guessing of what the movie is going to be tonight?
No, give me one clue. Is
Okay.
it horror, sci-fi?
It's both. Sort of a horror sci-fi thing. So there's the first clue. Let me just pull the chat up here. I can't put it up on the screen. It doesn't flow through. But if anybody can guess this one in the next couple of guesses, I will send them a free T-shirt.
That's awful generous of you, Rickster, to be donating some money to the food bank. That's very, very honorable, very generous of you, sir.
Well, we'll do that from the revenue of the Trump fight T-shirts, because I have to be honest, and I'm editorializing here. I'm not happy with Mr. Trump and his tariffs and his 51st state rhetoric, so I don't really want the money. Not from those. I don't like what he's doing.
And Rick, just for the Maverick Nation and our friends U.S. states, that Pope Francis's funeral at the Vatican starts at 4:00 in the morning, New York time, live. If anybody wants to pick up a live feed from the Vatican, so just to throw out for the Pope's funeral. So
okay. Okay, so clues. So this movie has a classic sci-fi horror vibe. It's black and white from the 1950s, and it's a retro monster flick. Where small towns face big creepy threats. How about that for a clue to start? Does that help anybody? Looking here. Any guesses there, John?
no, I'm stumped, my friend.
Okay.
Need clue number 2.
Okay, clue number 2. It's so the townsfolk in this movie, which was produced in 1958, try to squash their problem with a chemical solution.
Jubilee is Rosemary's Baby.
No. Nope.
Okay, that's a no. Jubilee.
No, that ain't it. Okay, does any other guesses out there? Any other guesses? The zombies. Not the zombies.
Clue number 3, Rickster. Clue number 3.
Okay, clue number 3.
That's a tough one tonight.
Yes. Okay. So a group of high schoolers stumble into danger while investigating a mysterious disappearance, only to uncover a colossal problem.
Yeah. Now, what year's the movie? Black and white, 1940s?
1958.
50. Okay. Does that zero it in for us, Maverick folks? 1950. And it's not in color in 1958?
No. Nope. Sci-fi horror. So it combines the two genres.
Miss Kitty Prepping says the zombie.
No.
Okay, sorry.
Miss King Kong? Nope, not King Kong. No, that was not 1958.
The Dragon says the Cape Carnival monster.
No. And Jubilee says King Kong. Petros for me says The Fly. No.
Oh, Miss Kitty Prep says, who's the leading star, Richter?
Well, I don't know. If I tell that, then I'm really going to be giving it away, right?
Oh, okay. Sorry, Miss Kitty. The Invasion of the Land Mower, Beverly One says.
No.
Sorry,
I
Bev.
think anybody's going to guess it. No. All right. I guess I'll have to tell you. The Invasion
one
of the
more
Lawnmower.
clue. One more clue.
Is that one more clue? Okay, let me see what I can find here from info so I can get an
Miss
appropriate
Kitty
clue.
Prep says The Plan.
The Plan? I don't know if that's even a movie, is it?
Spiders. Linda says spiders. I don't know. You got me stumped anyways. And I'm a movie guy. Howard's a movie guy too. You're movie people, but I wasn't even around in 58, Rickster.
Yeah, Rising Dragons is arachnophobia. No, arachnophobia came much later. Arachnophobia was like 19. I think the only one I'm familiar with was from 19. Wasn't it in the 90s? Maybe in 2000. I don't know. I'm losing track of my decades, man.
Well, Rick, were they not doing color movies in 58 or not till the 60s?
58. Yeah, it may. I don't know. Well, this one's in black and white.
That's it. Oh, okay. I love black and white, actually.
Yeah, me too. In many ways, it's got its own sort of character, right?
Miss Kitty Prep says we need one more clue. Please, Rickster.
Let me see what we got. What can I say?
Don't give it away yet. One more. Keep the clues going.
Okay, one more. Okay, it's an American International Pictures film.
Oh, okay. That's it. Killer Tomatoes, Jubilee says.
No, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. No, that wasn't 1958. No. And it was shot mostly in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And there were some cave scenes in it, which were shot down, I believe, in around New Mexico.
Peach Roses for me says 50 women.
50 women? Oh, yeah. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. No.
Oh.
Nice.
Sorry,
good guess.
Roses for me.
Yes, though.
Good guess, Peaches for Roses for me. The Invasion of the Body Snatcher.
Nope. All good guesses, though.
Well, that's a good guess.
Yeah. They, or you mean them? Rising Dragon probably means them. No, not them. The Blob? Nope, not the Blob. No, nothing with Roswell or Area 51. The Screaming Skull? Nope. All good guesses. Nobody's getting it, though.
They're all really awesome guesses, Rick. They've outguessed me.
Yeah, they're
pretty smart.
The Blob came from space. No.
There's Johnny 69 from Toronto. Hi, Johnny. Spiders.
Pretty close there, John. Yeah.
Oh, John, you're on something pretty hot, bro.
Yeah, he's. I think he's using the internet to cheat.
Oh, he's Googling it. John, you're a bad boy.
Okay,
Toronto.
And because of that,
oh,
I'm gonna tell you what it is. Yeah, there you go. Peach Roses for me. Earth versus the Spider. That's right.
Oh,
so
they Googled it, Rickster.
Yeah, they did. That's okay. You send me your address. I'll send you a shirt.
Oh, well, that's awful nice of you, Rick.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Earth versus the Spider. That's our movie for tonight.
Oh, and who was the movie house that did that in Los Angeles in 58?
American International Pictures. They did a lot of those sort of low budget but very successful horror and science fiction films.
Okay.
They did a bunch of them. So, yeah, we're going to do that tonight. Yeah.
Well, those were pretty awesome guests from the Maverick crowd there on Rumble.
Yeah, well, they're becoming classic movie buffs. Yeah, pop culture gurus, as it were. So that's pretty good. Good guesses all the way around tonight. Yeah. So that gets us a little past the top of the hour. Did promise to tell people about this. I want to share this before we sign off tonight and get ready for the Maverick Midnight Matinee film. I don't know. Maybe we'll just continue on with the broadcast, and I'll have to pull off YouTube for the movie. But
well, Rick, I've had a really bad day today, Rick. I got to tell you, my girlfriend's going to be doing a 7-year prison term. Georgina Santos.
Oh, George Santos. Oh, yes.
Georgina doing a 7. Oh, I think it's pretty harsh, but.
Oh, I don't know. 7 years. George Santos,
months.
Accused of, convicted of enriching himself through politics, Republican. And he's going to be sentenced. Let me just see. I think I have a clip of him, so let me just see if I can find that to share with people here tonight. Where'd you go there, George?
I don't think Georgina's American Express card's going to work in prison, Rexter. Or maybe online. I don't know.
Where'd my clip of him go? Hang on, I'm looking. I just have so many tabs open. I've sort of lost him. Well, here, I'll bring it up over here.
And it's been an extra bad day, Rick. Not the 7-year prison term. My 9-year-old son has been banned from Carnival cruise ships for life. He was a bad boy on the cruise ship, Rickster.
Yeah. Hang on here. Yeah, he was interviewed here. I'm sorry, guys. I lost the clip, so it doesn't matter. He's going to jail. This guy.
Yeah, you can Google it, pull it up.
Now, here's this.
Did you like the comparison between Sleepy Joe basement Bolshevik bunker Biden's 2 white bunnies compared to Trump's brown bunny at Easter?
Oh, yeah, you sent me that clip too. And I'm like, well, what was my response? I choose gray.
Yeah, that's actually a good choice, gray.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with a gray Easter bunny.
Here we go. Let's pull the bay down. We'll bring George Santos up. A couple of other things just to share with you before we get to the movie tonight. Here we go. So here's George Santos.
You are human scum! Human scum! I do not care! You are human! You are human scum! That's what you are! Human scum! You have no business in this building defending terrorists! You are human scum!
That's nice, eh? Yeah, that's exciting. I don't know what the context is behind all of that because I haven't been following this story, honestly, quite enough.
No. Well, it just kind of popped out. He's kind of got a potty mouth, eh?
Looks like that.
Ooh. Yeah. Dropping the F-bombs or... Oh, that's not very, very statement-like, is it?
No, not really. There's also this other story that I wanted to share with people tonight. This is the principal at MLK Junior High School in... let me just get my information up here. So yeah, this is... Oh, no, not that one. Sorry, just getting near the end here, so...
It's all good.
This is in Georgia. The exact county I need to confirm for you. But here, I'll show you this clip. Unbelievable to see this going on and really scary, actually, for me, anyway. Yeah, here we go. Let me just roll this for you. Yeah, principal getting beaten up by students. Look at this.
Stick it down, lay back. Get your ass once, bro. Oh my God!
Isn't that crazy?
That's pretty brutal, Rick. You know, my mom and dad, if I had ever participated in anything like that or even thought of it, I would have been completely disowned by my entire family on my
So-
mom and dad's side. And furthermore, I'm a child of the 60s and 70s. My school teachers were, Rick, if you needed some extra help, they would stay for 4 hours after school every day to tutor you, you know. But I'm a dinosaur. It's a different time now, eh, bro?
Yeah. So 3 students facing charges of battery and disrupting public school as a result of that. Broke out in the hallway, as you saw there. And this footage now circulating on social media. It wasn't released initially, but it's out there now. This happened, I think it was 3 days ago. And now we're just getting the footage of the actual incident.
Wow. You know, my World War I grandfather was a school teacher. And in fact, actually, as a side note, Brian Howell's dad was a beautiful school teacher and incredibly well respected. You know, I guess those days are gone, eh, my friend?
Well, we don't know what led up to that altercation, but there is an investigation underway. So if we find out more, we'll let you know. That's where things stand with that tonight.
Welcome to America, Rickster.
Yeah.
Welcome to America.
Exactly.
The new Trump America.
That's what I was thinking. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
Well, sorry, I said it, but
yeah. See, that's what lies in store for you, folks. If we become the 51st state, because the United States does have some, I would say, a different level of racial conflict and cultural conflict than we have up here in Canada. The history down there is somewhat different. And we have problems in Canada too, but not like that.
Johnny 69 says, send them home to mommy. Yeah, Johnny, to the back bedroom. Yeah, absolutely. Just unacceptable. Absolutely. Just disgusting. Disgusting.
It is, isn't it? It's bad.
No respect. No, no. And who are the parents of these kids, Rick? You know, they got to learn this stuff somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe it's because they don't learn anything, John. Maybe that's why. Maybe because they don't get any guidance, and so they just fall into it. Well, they just don't. I don't know. I could never imagine doing anything like that when I was in school. You know, attacking a teacher. Although,
wow,
you know, I did see some kids, even in like grade 8, get into kind of a bit of a pushing match one time with a teacher. So maybe
I can only imagine what your dad would have done to you. You would have had a red bum Rickster that would not go over well in the Walker house.
No tolerance for that in my household when I was a kid.
No, mine neither. I was raised with some beautiful parents and family.
Oh yeah, man. Yep. I'll tell you, yeah.
You want us to hang in here till your movie time? Can you invite in Dragon and Isabel, the other minions on the CBC panel?
Well, let me just, I'm going to get this thing fired up here. Getting the movie.
Because I can hang with you here for a few minutes.
Hang on a second here.
This is so much news breaking today, Rick. It's hard to keep on top of all of it.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, I don't really want to run the movie through this phone system though, John. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull off YouTube in order to do this. And I'm going to close off this show, but we're going to continue the broadcast and then segue straight into the movie tonight.
So does everybody need to move over to Rumble, Rick, from YouTube?
Yes. So
okay, please, Maverick News family worldwide, our friends in the United States of America we love dearly, our friends in Europe and worldwide, please move over to mavericknews.ca on Rumble channel platform.
Yeah, and I'll let you pick the closing song tonight, John, for the news program, and I'll run that.
That's it. You got so many awesome songs out there, Rick. I think you've got a #1 hit with the Orange Orangutan. Thank you. You played that for me last night. And then the Snowflake one is another new one. But I like your American Mustang one with the father and son with the I don't even know what you call it. That's a classic.
I don't know. I've got it in here. I just need to see if I can actually find it. I think it's this one right over here. So
that's it. I hope you get royalties on that. That's a true American Canadian, American graffiti, just a complete classic.
A tribute to Americana. That's what that is. So
Dragon says, is that the Memory Lane one?
Yes. That's exactly
right. Do you have a quick final thought, Rickster?
You sure do, John. The floor is yours.
Again, people out there, if you want to tune in to Pope Francis's funeral at the Vatican in Rome, Italy, it starts at about 4:00 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, the live feed. And again, on behalf of Maverick News Worldwide and the Minion out of Alberta, Western Canada, peace and love to the world, people. Rick, it costs you nothing to be nice to somebody, And my friend Napoleon Hill, give and give and give until it hurts, and give some more for people before you become successful. So peace and love to people around the world. And if you can help out a neighbor, a friend, a senior, a loved one, costs you nothing. It costs you nothing to be nice to humanity and people. So I leave our Maverick News family with that thought of peace and friendship and love around the world, sir.
All right. And you can donate at freedomreporters.com, $30 or more. I will send you one of those Trump t-shirts, or a Maverick News t-shirt for that matter. And if you get one of those Trump shirts, I'll make a donation to the food bank with it, and here locally. And that's at freedomreporters.com. You can also e-transfer at rw581@aol.com. And if you do donate through e-transfer, make sure you complete the security question and assign the answer to be the word Maverick, all lowercase. We can't complete the transaction unless the security question is answered or completed, because it goes into a business account for proper accounting. And CIBC does
and Rickster, Maverick News family worldwide, we are going to catch you down memory lane on the flip side. And may God bless everybody. Peace around the world.
Yes, indeed. And with that, I will leave you with Maverick and the News Brothers, and I will catch you on the flip side in just a moment. Don't go anywhere unless you're moving from YouTube to Rumble, because we're going to watch Earth versus the Spider. That wasn't the one I wanted. I'm sorry. I believe it's this one right here.
He started to nothing, just metal and a dream. Wrenches in his hand, a vision so pristine. Day after day, he'd work till the stars shine, building a machine, one of a kind. Grease on his fingers, fire in his eyes. He'd smile at that engine like it was alive. He'd say, son, one day this will be yours. But I never knew how much it meant until he closed those doors. Now I'm rolling down memory lane behind the wheel of that old Mustang. Every shift, every turn I feel him near. The sound of that engine, it's my dad I hear. Filled with pride with his hands and his heart. Every drive brings me back to the start. In this dream car, he's never too far. I remember my dad every time I start. He taught me to drive, not just on the road, but through life's twists and turns and heavy loads. Now when I hit the gas and the tires start to sing, it's like he's riding shotgun with the wind under our wings. He's there in the chrome, in the roar of the gears, his laughter in the echoes, his wisdom through the years. This car ain't just metal, it's a piece of his soul, and every mile I ride I feel it whole. Now I'm rolling down memory lane behind the wheel of that old Mustang. Every shift, every turn I feel it near. The sound of that engine, it's my dad I hear. Build a pride with his hands and his heart. Every drive brings me back to the start. In this dream car, he's never too far. I remember my dad every time I start. Through the rain and the rust, it still shines so bright, like the love he put into every late night. And though he's gone, I know he's still here. In every curve of this car, I see him clear. Now I'm rolling down memory lane behind the wheel of that old Mustang. Every shift, every turn I feel the near. The sound of that engine, it's my dad I hear. Building pride with his hands and his heart. Every drive brings me back to the start. In this dream car, he's never too far. I remember my dad every time I start. Yeah, yeah, I remember my dad every time I start.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.
Okay, I'm back, and it is time. We're going to just introduce things here a little bit different tonight because we're doing this on the fly. So it is time for Maverick Midnight Matinee. Here we go. And you have to move from YouTube over to Rumble because we're going to end the stream on YouTube